Obviously.
In the bottom spot position.
You surviving already?
Yeah, I'm surviving.
Hooray.
Okay, so Allie, just have you on the inside. We're going to be talking about basic float serve and float serve receive tactics, strategy, technique. Okay, for a float serve, there's a few things that we want to talk about. We'd like to have our left foot slightly forward. We don't necessarily need to do this 90-degree turn and then rotate into it. Not totally necessary for everybody. Okay. What we do want to have is a ball presentation. So we're going to present the ball with our left hand or our non-dominant hand up front, and we're going to preload our arms so that it's already back. Okay. So everybody, just make sure that you wave to somebody behind you. Now, take this little rhomboid here, the shoulder blades, squeeze them together as you put that hand back there. So you're squeezed, but don't let that squeeze your arm. See if you can keep your shoulder blades pinched while having a pretty loose arm, okay? That's a quick introduction to how we should load in order to hit. We have to open up through the shoulder blades, but still be able to keep a loose arm, okay? Now, once we're there, the difference between hitting hard and hitting a float serve, so instead of a hard spike or a float serve, is we need to kind of make our hand into a paddle here. We're gonna peel our fingers back, and we're going to try to make sure that our fingers do not touch the ball. You're going to get a lot more pop when you hit the palm onto the ball instead of the middle, and there'll be a different opportunity to serve both balls. Okay, so you can use the middle of your palm, but we like to use the heel of your palm just a little bit more, that little upper part of the middle of your hand. Lower part of the middle of your hand? Right there. Okay, you can remember this by saying hamburger, no french fries. That's what we want to talk about when we're serving and when we're spiking. Hamburger, no french fries. So when I'm loaded, I wave hello to somebody behind me. I present the ball to the people in front of me. This is a very small toss, okay? Maybe 12 to 8 inches. We don't want to do stuff like this to be able to squat and lift this ball. Y'all laugh, that's interesting. It's interesting, okay? Nice soft knees, and it's a toss, step with your front foot, and hit, okay? Again, making sure that this hand here is solid. So, demonstration, float serve, pop. Okay? It's gonna be pretty crisp. We can't have this hand loose for a float serve. Okay? If you're one of the people who struggle to make a ball float, so for some reason your ball always top spins like that, one way to attempt to fix that is by scraping down on the ball. So imagine that when you're serving, you're going to scrape down. If you're one of the people who always puts top spin on your floats, if you can train yourself to put backspin on your serve, all you have to do from that point is just calibrate between the two, right? So the way that I was finally, after a few years, able to develop a good float was by my coach asking me to scrape down on the ball and attempt a little bit of backspin, and then you find that middle ground, okay? Now, when we talk about float serves, we have a lot of different types. Part of what happened last week that I hope this week, this camp, advances beyond them is we saw something like 98% of serves at that depth. Every single float serve was the same depth, and people were choosing a person instead of the area around people or making their body do a certain thing, okay? So we don't just want to pick a person. We want to pick a person who we want to struggle in a certain way. All right? So, first short serve, we have a steep short serve. Okay? That's one that we're going to toss a little bit on top of our head, and we're going to look at the bottom of the ball. We're going to hit that up. It should fall nice and steep and short to the net. Okay? That's a great pass. She made it look a lot easier than it really is. Thank you. Okay? Now, what does that do to somebody once they come into serve receive? They have to come forward close to 20 feet. They have to drop down on a knee after they pass. They have to then retreat backwards about 15 feet. Then they have to go forward again and get that spike. So, John Mayer, great AVP player, fantastic coach. He said, what's the one skill that that most people overlook, like the most overlooked and important skill? And he said 100% short serves, because it just wreaks havoc on teams. So if you can learn to get a good just combination of a regular pace serve and a very short serve, that'll be a good weapon. Okay? Now the next we have that fast float serve, where we're trying to just keep that ball. You see the third red stripe on the antenna? That's a good window for me to get it to try to cross the top of that tape real flat. Okay? That's one that, yeah, that's gonna cross their sweet spot. But against players who kind of get nervous when a ball's moving fast at them, or when the ball's floating a lot, this is a good weapon. But driving it through the top of that tape and blowing somebody up like that. Okay? Heads up. So that's our flat, fast float serve. Okay? The next one, once you ping that, any baseball fans? Anybody play baseball in their history? 2, 3? Okay. So, do we know what a changeup is, the concept of that? Changeup is when you throw a very fast ball consistently and somebody gets used to that speed, right? And then you make everything look exactly the same, but the ball moves slower, right? And then they're so used to that speed that they kind of get a little hitch in their swing, and then you get them to go early and they strike out. So after I've like kind of blown her up with that pace, I can make it look like the exact same flight, and then I call it a dead float, where I have the same motion, same trajectory, but it just dies maybe 5 feet earlier, and it kind of like the bottom falls out of the book, and then somebody has to go and they struggle with a short serve. So it's different than a steep short serve. We'll see if I can do it okay. Okay? Because I warned her. Right? But again, we're just same motion, same trajectory, but it's there, right? It just kind of falls like 5 feet earlier. But that's intentional, because boom, 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 flat serve, then something to throw her off her rhythm. Okay?
So is it just lighter? Is it just lighter?
Yes, it's just a softer, lighter swing. The other way you could do it, remember when we talked about hitting different spots on your hands? So if I hit with the heel of my hand for my fast float serve, if I then use the very middle of my palm with the same arm speed, the ball will come out maybe 4 or 5 miles per hour slower because of that motion. So here, right, and then it just kind of dies. So you can use a different surface to do that. Okay? So that's the dead float, right? And then we just have the high deep serve. And I think a lot of kind of A, B level players, they end up laughing because like, why are you serving people so easy when they see professionals serve high and deep, right? They always laugh. Okay. What you want to do is, can you guys both put your arms up like this? That's their sweet spot. So from their knees right now to their arms, that's their sweet spot. This is an easy zone to pass in. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to serve it so that it crosses over that fence and then lands in, okay? I 100% win the first battle if I get you to tomahawk and serve receive. If I get you to tomahawk and serve receive, I'm most likely going to win that point, okay? You're already out of control, right? And if I told you to tomahawk for 1 minute versus telling you to pass for 1 minute, which one do you think you would last longer? Probably passing, right? So if I'm able to take away your number one control weapon in the first touch, I'm already starting the point at an advantage, all right? So I'm trying to get it up and over them so that they tomahawk. That's one way that I win, okay? Now, what she's trying to do is she should move her feet back, or you can take the drop step, that shuffle 1, 2, 3, and then you have this and you can carry it forward. What this does to setters, if you got a nervous setter out there, now they're passing a ball from almost twice the distance, or they're setting a ball that's being passed from almost twice the distance. So now this ball is traveling a longer distance, and setters have longer to think and get nervous and wonder if I should hand set or bump set or whatever, right? So it creates a lot of nerves for the setter, and it can screw them up. So against bad setters or weaker setters, you attack the setter by serving the other person deeper. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Also, what happens when people move back to this line is they feel like they have so far to catch up to their spike that they then just sprint, get their early back pedal, and slap it over. Okay? So all of these versions of float serves, we got steep short, we got dead ball, we got fast float, and high deep. Those are what you should be thinking instead of who am I going to serve? Okay, vanilla, generic, middle of the court float serve, right? Stay away from vanilla and generic as much as possible. So we're gonna be doing that, and you guys are gonna be doing a little bit of a server-receiver battle, okay? So if it's going to be me against Allie, and JM is gonna be 6 feet from the net in the middle of the court. Now, if JM has to take more than a single step to catch the ball, that's going to be my point. If Allie passes to him and he can take a step or less, then that's gonna be his. And every time she gets 2 in a row, she wins a point. Every time I get 2 in a row, I win a point. Okay, do it right here, hop. That's 1 in a row for her, right? Hiya. 2, right? 2 in a row, so she's up 1-0. She's got a big point, right? And we would continue that battle like this, just kind of going back and forth. Jesus, she's good. Okay. They're harder. Skyball? Okay.
Change up.
One step, baby. You didn't say concussion yet.
So then we get that discussion and argument. Okay. The only thing that we have to go over, other than the basics of the free ball passing. Number 1, do not tomahawk and serve receive. Ever. Get rid of it. Get your platform on it. You will be a better, higher percentage passer when you have that surface on it. So when you feel that ball kind of heat-seeking your neck, everybody has experienced this feeling in serve receive. The fastest thing you can do is pull this hip out of the way and then get your platform there. So everybody stand on your feet, please. Right here. Keep your lasers. You got lasers on the tops of your shoulders. Keep them pointed forward towards the net. Drop that left hip, but make sure that both lasers are facing forward so that the angle stays forward. We don't twist like this because then the ball just keeps going, right? So we drop that inside shoulder, we raise the outside shoulder, and we bring it in. So once you get that feeling, the first thing you need to do is kind of get out of the way, right? Get yourself out of the way. The next thing that we're gonna do is a short serve. So we should be 1-2 kick. So if everybody takes a giant right step, a giant left step. Now on this last one, you're going to kick and you're gonna slide your knee close to your foot. Just watch this. Kick and get your knee right next to your foot so that you can stand with the pass. Okay. That is very different from this position. This position stinks to pass out of. This position is a really nice and comfortable position. Okay, we don't want to be reaching like this, like stripper butt, right? Or the big lunge. We don't want any of those. We want to make.
Let's see it, Mateo.
So 1, 2,
Drop the luggage.
drop the luggage. Okay. That's how we pursue a short serve. You don't want to reach. You got to get your hips under it. So everybody just in one line, let's face this net. Just gonna practice a little bit of passing and approaching all along this depth. Remember that those steps should be big and powerful. You don't need too much room to spread. Even with us, everybody even? So we're in serve receive. First, heat seeker at your neck. Ready? Drop your torso out of the way.
Oh, no.
Nice.
Good.
Do it the other way. Boom.
Hey, real quick, while you're doing this, your platform, when you're dropping that hip back, if you notice when Mark does it, I can still see his platform. Okay? He's not dropping his platform all the way back to point at that hotel. Okay, he's keeping it towards me.
Now, we're gonna get out of the way and continue the shuffle because it's one of those high deep balls. So drop open, step shuffle. Step 2, 3. It's still that 3-step move. Nice. And then finally, we'll practice 2 short moves. So from this depth, Remember, big, powerful athletic steps. That's why we do lots of lunges and squats. 1, 2, drop it down, stand up, and then back pedal. Go ahead. Your knee should be right next to your foot when you're in that lunge position. So you're gonna need to slide that knee up right next to your foot. Try it a couple more times.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
Depending on right or left side, are you going to switch legs with what you go first? Or
So
are you just gonna
ideally
use to
you
do
would
the same?
pursue a right ball there, and you would pursue a left ball with that step first. But whatever foot is forward is not going to have an effect
Okay.
on that. So I'm not going to be like,
Yeah. Well, I know, yeah, you obviously should change it, but if you get used to doing it one way.
all right. So we're gonna practice some different types of float serve. Then we're gonna get to serve receive, and we'll finish with a tiny bit of gameplay. We should end about 11:40. All right, guys, enjoy the last little bit.